Abby, Liddy, and Mary Ann. They're joining us from Manchester, New Hampshire. Ladies, thanks very much for coming in. Abby, let me start with you. If your dad comes in third after Mitt Romney and Ron Paul, is that good enough to continue?
Uh-oh.
Abby, can you hear me?
Sorry, it cut out a little bit. I think you were talking about coming in third.
Yeah, if he comes in third, is that good enough?
We're not looking at numbers specifically. We're looking at exceeding expectations. And what we're feeling on the ground here is a lot of momentum, a lot of energy. And I think you're going to see that tomorrow when we see the votes tomorrow night. So we're really looking at exceeding expectations, and I think that's going to happen here. We're really excited.
All right, well, let me bring in Lydia. Is it disappointing, though, to a certain degree, he's not doing better in these polls than you would have liked?
Actually, I mean, I think we've seen the last couple days that he's actually surging in the polls. He's the only one out of the candidates that is actually rising. So, I mean, I think that's very encouraging to us. It's showing that, you know, we're going to beat expectations tomorrow and surprise New Hampshire.
Mary Ann, let's talk a little bit about what it's like to be out there on the campaign right now. Your dad, you see him all the time. Does he ever get discouraged? Does he show discouragement to you?
You know what? My dad is one of the most positive human beings I have ever met. And so it's really nice to have the whole family together because every night we see each other, we laugh, we tell jokes, and that sort of gets his mind off of it. But I will tell you, Wolf, he is so energized right now. And when you're talking about polling, it's really hard to go off of polls because there is still, I think, 40 to 50% of New Hampshire that is undecided. So I think that we will see a surprise come out of New Hampshire tomorrow.
Well, we'll know soon enough tomorrow night. Let me go back to you, Abby. Did you read that long article by Jim Rutenberg in the New York Times front page Sunday paper yesterday about your dad?
I probably have heard about it. We've been campaigning full-time here, so not a lot of reading goes on right now.
All right. Because here, you know, I read the whole thing, and this paragraph sort of jumped out at me. Let's talk a little bit about it, because you know the people a lot better than I do. It talks about your dad's relationship with your grandfather. It is one of the great incongruities.
Oh, I did read that, yeah.
Incongruities of the year that a race being run by the son of one of the richest men in the world, the chemical magnate Jon M. Huntsman Sr., could fail because of a lack of money. People familiar with the situation have described a standoff between the two headstrong Huntsmans, one unwilling to help greatly if he is not asked, and the other unwilling to ask. Did that paragraph seem accurate to you?
Not at all. Look, resources come with momentum, and what we're seeing here is momentum, and we've seen things can change overnight. I think we've seen that on this campaign cycle, and in terms of my dad and my grandpa, they are very best friends. They talk every single day, and so people can think what they want, but what we know is they're very best friends, and my dad, he, like he did in Utah, he's not going to pay his way to the White House. You know, you want support of the people. He's the people's candidate, and so I think you're going to see the resources come with momentum, and that's exactly what we're seeing on the ground.
You know this relationship, obviously, Mary Ann. Tell us about this relationship from your perspective between your father and your grandfather.
They are very best friends. They talk every single day. My grandpa has been the biggest support to him. So as far as that goes, I will say that they have a very strong relationship, and he has been there for us 100% of the time.
And is it true, and I'll bring in Liddy, is it true that he hasn't asked your grandfather for money? Is that his nature, that he wants to do it by himself?
That is just the nature of my dad. You know, he is the people's candidate, and he wants to earn it. He wants to earn the people's trust, and I think that's what makes him such a different candidate, I think different than anybody else on stage, is that he wants trust from the people, which is exactly what is missing right now in Washington. So I think that's what sets him apart from anyone else up there.
As you guys know, I follow all of you on your Twitter, which is at Jon 2012 Girls. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I sent out to my followers, I said, what would you ask these three young women if you could? Here's one question, and I'll throw it to you, Abby. If your father was not running, who would they have voted for?
Who would my parents have voted, or who
No,
would we have voted for?
Who would you have voted for if your dad wasn't running?
You know, I don't know that we can
a tough
answer that.
one.
I think we know that our dad is the best for the job, so that's really the only person we're thinking about voting for right now, unless my sisters have another idea.
Huntsman all the way.
Yeah, I think we're all for Huntsman, even if he weren't running.
All right, so you're not going to tell me who you like the most out of the other candidates, is that right?
You can't get us in trouble here, Wolf.
All right, I'm not
Yeah,
going to
you're gonna get us in trouble.
Not the
but
day before the primary.
you won't be surprised that the most commonly asked question that, and I got a lot of responses when I said, what would you ask these three young women? There was a variation of these questions. Would any of you consider dating a Democrat? I would ask them to marry me, love them, dinner Friday night. Obviously, you got a lot of fans out there, and all of them want to know your status. So let's start off, Marianne, and we'll go down. Tell us your status right now. Are you available to a lot of young men who are looking out there and would like to get to know you a little bit?
Well, all I can say, Wolf, is I hear that you are the best matchmaker. So maybe you can line me up with somebody.
Maybe I'll try. That would be,
That's all I'll
that
say.
would be lovely. I'd love to be able to do that. Abby, I know you're out of the picture, right?
Double date.
I've been married for a little bit over a year now.
I knew that, and I know you're very happily married. What about Liddy? Go ahead.
The only boy in my heart is my dog, Arthur. He's a little Maltipoo, and that's all I'm going to say.
All right, well, I'm going to try to work on that matchmaking and see what I can do. Hey, guys,
Yeah, you
thanks
work on
very
it,
much
Wolf.
for coming in.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you.
Always good to see the three Huntsman girls, as they call themselves. Guys, thanks very much.